have a large scale or hyperscale data center safely,
No.
environmentally safely. It's just not possible.
Right.
But people don't understand that because the big tech companies and the utility companies are so sneaky about how they market it, and how they talk to local governments. Um, and I assure you that it's so deliberate they put them near low income communities. It is so
Absolutely.
deliberate. Yeah, it's just it's just disgusting. It is. Um, when I talk to her, I'm talking about my sorority sister, and they're all opposing it because of what it does to real estate values. But they're thinking that it can be fixed
Mm,
environmentally, and I just don't think that's true.
right. I totally agree. Greetings, everybody. This is Dr. Teresa Wakefield Gamble. We just having a catch up conversation with the president of DCEF and Jordan Wright, the doctoral PhD student that's doing the air quality study, and Montre Bennett just joined us from Delray Beach in Palm Beach County. We're just chatting. We're talking. Catching up, giving out takeaways from the presentation today, going over some cool resources that each of these presenters have provided. And I'm gonna ask Jordan to specifically talk about this purple app that she's talking about. So if you hear her presentation again, she kind of run through it a little fast, but I want her to,
I
kind of
did.
get a little bit detailed and drop some, links in the chat, because this is something that I have been looking for, that's not costly, because those air quality testing machines are expensive, and the EPA has stopped funding a lot of community organizations that provide it. So we have Judy Freiberg, the president of DCF. We have Jordan Wright. We have Montre Bennett. A couple of my speakers, they had prior engagements, and which is okay. It's not required to do the live Q&A. I didn't get too many questions in because I believe either the presenters gave a lot of information to answer their questions, or they may come in later, and each of the presenters are cool with addressing questions after the fact. You all just have to go and rewatch their presentation and get their contact information. But if it's something pressing and burning, just reach out to me at dcfduval@gmail.com, and I will make sure that they connect with you. So I want to give Miss Judy Freiberg an opportunity to speak, because she didn't have an opportunity on our welcome video, and give us some updates of what she's learning, what she's hearing, and what we need to be moving towards, because early voting starts in Duval County on August 8th. School goes bound starts back August 10th. The August primary is August 18th. So this month is going to be very chaotic. So I yield the floor to the illustrious Miss Judy Freiberg.
Thank you, thank you very much. Nobody ever has called me illustrious before, so that's a first. Um, One of the reasons that I decided to become president of the caucus a year ago, a year and a half ago, whenever that was, that is because I really feel strongly that politically our Democratic Party has left out working class and low income individuals. Um, and I'm a ex legal aid lawyer, and I also was a managing attorney for three law offices that delivered legal services to UAW members. And so my career has been really working with low income and working class people. Obviously, in St. Louis, a lot of people of color. So, um, so I felt a responsibility to get the Democratic Party back on board with those issues. With respect to environmental issues, I believe in marrying those two things. In other words, I think people should have an economic right to live in healthy, sustainable lives, access to medical care, to a quality education, to live in a safe and healthy house. Um, and so I believe now, with the challenges that we face environmentally, that it is an excellent opportunity for the Democratic Party and for our environmental caucus to develop an environmental policies that comport with economic rights for all Americans. For anybody who lives in this country, they have an economic right to live healthy, sustainable lives, um, as opposed to opportunity. It's a right. It should be a right. And that is how I we are framing our environmental platform on our website. We're working on it. It's going to take another year to get it to move. But when you talk about, for example, um, cleaning up houses that are completely polluted, um, what you have to do then is start at the Supreme Court level, in my opinion, and create a Supreme Court and a constitutional philosophy that gives people an economic right to live in communities that are not polluted and where they're not getting sick so they can live healthy, which means fighting all the Project 2025 stuff they did to remove the ability of government to police these industries that are doing this, to remove the ability of government to be funded to clean up the communities, to give people the ability to move if they can't clean up their communities. I feel that that is should be an economic right for people. So that's what I'm going for in our party. And I look for anybody who agrees with me to join me and help me put do this. Let's put on create an environmental platform that comports with this on every aspect of environmental policy. Let's make sure our candidates understand it. We endorse candidates who understand our environmental platform. That's what Teresa and I, Dr. Gamble and I were talking about, is our endorsement process, which we're working on right now, to make sure that our candidates understand and agree to this. If they're going to get elected, they're going to know how to govern. We need a healthy group um, of individuals, grassroots individuals, who will join us to push the candidates and vote for the candidates who will understand that. And then once they're in office, hold them accountable. So that's what we're going for. And I welcome questions and discussions, disagreements, agreements, whatever. We need the feedback because we're figuring out how to do it.
That
Can I
sounds
say one other thing about FDR?
sure.
FDR tried to do it. After during the Depression, he tried to create a number of social safety net programs that included this, including fair housing programs. And he couldn't get the Supreme Court to agree that they were constitutional. He kept losing. That's why he tried to pack the Supreme Court. So between FDR and LBJ, that was the push. And that was the Democratic Party, which was wonderful, in enacting all this civil rights legislation, enacting lots of legislations to push social programs in all aspects of our lives. And unfortunately, the extreme right wing got a hold of the Republican Party and have been gradually undoing all that. And I am for saying, you know what? I'm sick of all this corruption. No matter what you are, white, green, blue, pink, doesn't matter. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, I think the electorate is ready to go back to that. Sorry, thank you for letting me say that.
No, no worries,
Okay.
no worries.
Yeah.
Um, Dr. Benjamin, welcome, welcome, welcome. You and Montre, and then after they give their greetings, Jordan, then I want you to talk about that purple app. All right, Reverend Benjamin. Um, I know when I did the introduction for this event, and I included Ambrose, your brother, one of the podcast episodes he did.
Yes.
Talking, I think it was episode 27, It was July 22nd, 2024. President Joe Biden had stepped down and did not pursue to run for office. And that was a 17-minute video. But I'm telling you, while I was listening and putting it together, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was going to cut it off, but some say just let him go. And it was amazing how he really framed how he did the history, talked about his background, talked about y'all dad. I mean, it was very refreshing to hear, and I really, really, truly hope that the black churches in Duval County really embrace, that episode. I may break out that piece of the welcome presentation specifically for Ambrose to so that way it can it can stand alone on its own. But
Sure.
anyway, your thoughts. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of the other panel sessions. This is the first we did the Duval Green Future Fair virtually. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but give give me your feedback. We haven't gotten any questions yet, so we
Okay.
talking in our experiences and our takeaway.
I really want to appreciate you and thank you for uh, not only inviting us to participate, but joining in with us and becoming a part of this collaborative effort in this area and in this green space. As you did here, Dr. Ambrose, give an introduction, and we're always wanting people to know the story, how we came to be, and our purpose, why we are Green the Church. One of the things that we have been doing over these past few months now is looking at how Green the Church can continue to expand itself. We've been looking at language. You saw something about you talked about our podcast, and
Hmm.
we really are, even that is shifting to where our emphasis is on being a revivalist and also getting more people involved in this space. The podcast will be changing. You, of course, are already on the docket. Once we determine what's happening, because they're going to give us an opportunity in Florida to do stories that are germane to this area. This work in sustainability cuts across so many. There's so many different areas to be concentrated in. And one of the things that we try to make sure that we do is that we don't get caught in one particular space. And so I did have a chance to listen more intently to the conversation regarding data centers, right? And that's
Hmm.
been a big question. So we're actually going to be meeting to talk about the data centers and talk about energy and other types of energy in order for that to take place. And so it's something that we are absolutely paying attention to, absolutely are concerned about. And I'm going to just be straight up transparent. When I first started hearing about data centers, I was like, "Oh man, this is great! This is wonderful!" And I think we were in Atlanta at our national conference in Atlanta back in October. We have this every year. It happens the same week of Indigenous Peoples, Columbus Day weekend, right? Columbus Day weekend. Um, but there's this conversation about the data centers and AI. And I was like, well, what's wrong with data centers? It's water and it's clean energy. And so I'm just being transparent. And someone said, it's the amount of water. And it made me immediately begin to think about having lived here in Florida for so long, and the times where we have had water shortages, and the conversations about um, Lake Okeechobee and other parts of the geography, even outside of the state, who perhaps depend on that water source. And so it kind of, in my mind, starts, moving. And I've been trying to do more reading, do more research, but we're going to intentionally have conversation and dialogues. Our national summit is coming here. It's coming here to Florida, to Palm Beach County in October of 2027. So the save the date is already out. The locations are being solidified and the hotels. But one of the conversations we will be having has to do with data centers. and what is going to be Green the Church's stance in terms of how to manage it. I know that Florida, there's a tremendous pushback. We don't know the outcomes, but we do know we need to make our people across the state aware, and Green the Church is going to be involved in that as well. I also I'm glad to be here for other reasons having to do with making sure people know who we are and know that you can be involved. We use this word, we unapologetically use the word, this focus toward the Black church. And I mentioned that in my video, in my presentation today, that what we discovered is that within the Black church faith community, when we talk about sustainable practices, when we talk about clean energy, the Black church, in terms of majority, are not engaged directly in these conversations. And so when you do talk to pastors, when you do talk to parishioners, not only at my church, but other churches that we've had an opportunity to share Green the Church, folks are honest and say, hey, I thought this was just about gardening. I thought this was just about food. And it is important. Food is important. And having your own gardens is important. Growing your own food is important. It's one of the tenets. Green the Church it makes that a priority. But also climate justice, right? Climate justice, clean, not only food, but health. Those are other issues. So we're really all across the board. And for those who are not aware, we're in several states, and so I'm just glad to be here representing Florida, and I hope that we get to do more of this. I think I was supposed to just do introduction, and so
No,
that
you
was
did. No, you did good. You did good. But you don't have to do too much digging on data centers. Trust me, Miss Judy has the connections from the national, the state, within our caucus. So whatever information you need or would like to have, just let us know and we will get it together for you so that way you can equip all your chapters around the nation, well, the world, because y'all in Kenya now, so they can be aware of the harms of the data centers. That's why I had Dr. Angel Bratsford Rodman do the fight that she's been dealing with in Louisiana on her presentation, and it was something serious. And but she's a diehard. She's a researcher and she's a scientist. And so no worries. Now that I know that y'all on that table, I look forward to see what the podcast is gonna look like because I got tons of more stories. I just ain't rolled them all out yet. But Montrez, thank you so much for stepping in on the second panel. I couldn't get the medical doctors I wanted, but I appreciate you stepping up. I know your presentation was a little garbled. That's why I made sure the closed captioning was there. Because when I saw the slides and I started hearing you talk, I said, okay, we need to have this conversation. So what we gonna do, we gonna re-record your presentation because I want your voice to go with what you presented. So what was your takeaway for doing this event? And what have you learned so far, Montrez?
First of all, thank you for having this event. Montre is the name.
Montre. Got it.
No S, no L's, no R's, no T's, no Y's.
Gotcha.
um, I'm with the data center. That's the part I actually got in maybe 2014. And the first thing I did, because the spirit told me, the spirit said, in order for you to be healed and clean, first you must clean the earth. So I started off picking up trash in the neighborhood. And by way of me picking up the trash in the neighborhood, in a spiritual essence, I was cleaning the trash within my spiritual system. Um, a lot of times we separate ourselves from what earth is, but we are all of that and more. Nothing is separate, it's all one. And we just got to stand up and speak up for what we believe in and what we know is to be true. Because if we don't, the system will continue to play its game, and we'll continue to fall in its game, and no change really takes place. And I close with this: the real change starts with oneself. Oneself must heal itself first in order for one to go out there and heal someone else. And in that process, it don't happen overnight. It don't happen in a year. It don't happen in 2 years. It could be a lifetime of a journey. This journey is a lifetime, and we just have to do what's right for our bodies. Also, do what's right for the earth, because the earth is giving what we put out, and the universe is giving what we put out as well. So, mental, physical, emotional, all those things need to have a positive effect when it's being put into our bodies and our minds and our hearts and our ears and in our mouths. So yeah, be aware of what you intake in all aspects of your life. And I close with that.
I appreciate it, Montre. He's a big advocate. Miss Judy and Jordan. I've been to Delray twice. This year, May and June, and that was my first time coming in that area. And they welcomed me with open arms. Culture is so different. Um, we went to the event in May, the mental health event. Montre them was giving out palm trees. I was like, what? I mean, them big, I still got my palm tree. My tray is sitting by my window. So, I mean, it's just amazing, the environment and the vibe. And we do have a DECF chapter in Palm Beach County, and I'm kind of working behind the scenes with Miss Mary Jo, because she don't want it to die. It's very important. It needs to get strengthened, get some leadership, get some folks who really is serious about it. And Miss Judy Montre is very passionate about the environment. I met a lot of people. My husband is the first, Montre is the second. They love they love it because they understand it. I'm gonna tell this quick story. My husband used to be a groundskeeper at one of the mega churches here in Jacksonville we was a member of. And right by the sanctuary entrance going into the sanctuary, they had this cement pond, and it had grass around it. But for some reason the grass would not grow around that pond. I mean, it was just straight dirt. So I was working at the school at the time, and he would come up there part time when he get off, and nobody asked him, and he started watering that spot. He would just sit there and he would just water that spot, and he'll be there watering it almost 15, sometimes 20 minutes, because the spot was dry. Over a 3-month period, that grass started growing. It was thick, almost like a shaggy carpet. So my husband wound up getting the name, the man that make grass grow. So that's why I say he has a severe green thumb when it comes to dead spaces and dead land and stuff. And that's why me and him is very passionate about trying to find natural solutions to clean up these Superfund sites. That's not just in Duval County, in the environmental justice communities, the Black communities. It's around the state of Florida. It just looks different. It could be flooding. It could be the sugarcane burning factories. It could be the mosaic mines. But we have to find a natural solution to clean up these Superfund sites, since they are selling them left and right on commercial websites and building on top of them. Our public schools are being was built on these sites that's contaminated, where a lot of our children have died from cancer early. A lot of the teachers had died from cancer. A lot of them having health issues. They can't function anymore. The water is contaminated. I mean, the list goes on and on. And my husband, with his residential and commercial background in landscaping and groundskeeping, I've seen him take some dead spaces and make them, I mean, resurrect them back to life. Just taking time. by watering. So I agree with you, Montre, that water is significantly important. So Jordan, purple app. Montre, you got to hit us one. You and Reverend Benjamin about this purple app. So make sure y'all taking notes.
Okay, so in my presentation, I was discussing people being burned out after organizing individually. So the data that they've been collecting has kind of just been sitting in in their homes and their computers and not being seen elsewhere. So Purple Air is one of the resources that I mentioned at the end of the presentation, and the link to the Purple Air website is in the QR code at the end of my presentation as well. It is a air quality company or air quality monitoring company who sells affordable air quality monitors for people to own within communities. And each air quality monitor's data is published publicly for anyone to access on that website. There are currently two in the areas that I worked with within Jacksonville, and they're all over the country, the world. They have a map that when you first go to their website, it's the entire world. Um, the Being in Tampa, a couple of the community organizations have uh, come together and put them at local libraries, community centers, things like that. So if any maintenance is needed to be done, it's easily accessible, things like that. But I think the ones that are currently in the Jacksonville area that I've worked with are at people's homes, and they have both indoor and outdoor, and both indoor outdoor air quality monitors.
Are those monitors expensive, Jordan? Because I know it's a couple of neighborhood groups I've been working with. They've been trying to get a hold to some or either write a grant to purchase them.
Yeah, so they're not as expensive as something that you would be getting from one of the major corporations, like thousands of dollars. They are expensive for like a working class individual. There are a couple $100s. There are still grants available for those, whether local, state, or national. They run, I would think the outdoor air quality monitor runs about $300, and they're constantly updating firmware within those, so you don't have to get a new air quality monitor hardware every time they update something.
Okay, that's good to know. And so everything, so the firmware and the software within these monitors, they're updated within the company, or does the device has to be submit back to the organization?
It's updated within the company, I believe. They are currently, I think, mostly monitoring for particulate matter, so little particles that are coming off of factories, cars, highways, things like that. They are currently testing more broader things to be monitored. Carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, a lot of the things that we're seeing, a lot of like PFAS, like forever chemicals, things like that are under volatile organic compounds.
Hmm.
Um, so they are currently testing that and rolling that out to all of the air quality monitors that can hold that firmware, which is the outdoor ones.
Okay. So how are they considering testing like either soil or water?
No, this it's strictly an air quality monitoring company, but
Okay.
there are resources in Jacksonville that will test soil quality and water quality. Usually, the Department of Health or local state organizations will test water or air.
Well, this is the reason I bring
Or
this
sorry, water or soil.
the reason I bring this issue up because one of the resident groups they did go through the Department of Health, and the Department of
Mm.
Health told them was nothing wrong with the soil. And this was a family who lived right behind the Superfund site in Central Fairfax neighborhood in 32209, and their whole entire family has cancer. So my one of my efforts and solution and Reverend Benjamin been kind of partnering with me is to be able to find either grant funding or resources and companies who will actually test the soil and water in these environmental justice communities that Miss Judy calls them. I call them redlining, um, because that's what we in the Black community have grown up to know them to be, because they need some resources to test this stuff because they can't sell their property. I had one lady
Right.
story. She had their family home was only valued at $68,000, and about five houses right down the street from her, their house sold for 3 million. So I mean, so when you talk about the environmental justice institute, this is some of the things that we're talking about, but we want to be able to track all this stuff. So even with my recent research study and the stories that I'm doing with the redlining project, I've been talking with my dissertation chair at National University about launching a scholarly journal. And because they getting into what they call cause research now. And I believe all the stories and all the things that I have learned in working with Miss Judy Freiberg and Dr. John Capice with the Environmental Caucus, now with the Green to Church, has really opened my eyes how a lot of us are truly affected, and this how states are not tracking this information and tying a lot of the health disparities, economic disparities, learning disparities, cognitive issues to the environment. There's no record of tracking that whole biophysical makeup of based on where we live. So that's why I asked that question, because I know you in that space, Reverend Benjamin. If you don't know that, Jordan is getting her PhD, but she also has a medical background in, I saw in your email signature, social medicine. What's that, Jordan?
Right. Yes. So I work for a clinic in Tampa that primarily serves unhoused populations, especially people who inject drugs. So we are targeting it's called IDEA Exchange. So it's Infectious Disease Elimination Act. So working to eliminate transmission of infectious diseases like HIV and hepatitis C.
Okay. That's interesting. So, but we'll talk more about that. Miss Judy, Mr. Reverend Benjamin, y'all have any updates, announcements, call to actions? I know Green Church has this amazing book Reverend Ambrose wrote. I know you all are doing the petition to Hakeem Jeffers. Miss Judy, we need to also get Reverend Green Church the list of state legislators for them to petition as well with the initiative the faith-based organization is doing. Reverend Benjamin is trying to get 1,000 churches in Florida to sign this position to be able to advocate for the environmental justice, such as the data centers, the affordability, property taxes, and things of that nature. So I told him I'll see if I can reach out to you, because I know we're in that endorsement phase right now, and some of the candidates I have looked at. And I'm thank you for sending that email list out of who are we to endorse, so that way I can go investigate. But final thoughts for the both of you, and we'll wrap it up.
Could I ask something about what you just said?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, my guess is that I can wake up, particularly at least some of the black churches in where I am in Naples. So I certainly know people and
Okay.
close to people in that. Is it possible for one of you to send something to me about that? Um,
The
yeah,
petition
yeah,
to Hakeem Jeffers.
yes.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I think they'd be very interested in this.
Okay.
Yeah, the Jeffries, that particular petition is really a push to make sure legislators on in 2027 really make sustainability
Yeah.
an even bigger priority going into next year. We know the languages, there's language we're not using anymore. We don't want to say climate change. We don't want to acknowledge that, but we do. But as stewards of the planet, uh,
Mhm.
one of the things that Green the Church, one of our huge pushes, the reason that we want 1,000 churches, we exist to help train pastors, congregational leaders, denominational leaders, how to function in this space. So Dr. Carroll wrote the book, Green the Church, because we're 15 years old. Someone said we're not new to this, we're true to this when we've been in this space.
Yeah.
We used to be, sometimes we're considered a small nonprofit, but there's some grants we can't qualify for anymore because we operate above $1 million annually. And
Mhm.
so, and we're in several states, and what we're trying to do is get pastors. We don't want to come in and be, let me see, Interfaith Power and Light is a really strong organization, if you've ever heard of it. It's a faith-based community, but it's one of the largest donors in terms of the faith communities. We don't want to come in and be Interfaith Power and Light. We don't want to come in and be the NAACP. We don't want to come in and
Yeah,
be
right. Yeah.
Operation Push. No, we come in and say, hey, we've learned how to operate a nonprofit entity and establish a for-profit piece that's related to revenue generation, right? We help churches establish what we call revenue generating microgrids. And so we've got a church in Hayward right now that just did its grand opening for their charging stations. So the church has charging stations, the church has solar batteries, and the church has solar backup batteries and the solar panels. But it's a revenue generating model that also allows the church to be a disaster preparedness location for community. So we want to, there's a whole lot there and what we want to do. So if you got churches in Tampa, I'd love to collaborate with you. If I have to come to Tampa, if we have to do a Zoom meeting, because we want pastors to sign on. We want them to buy the book, because the book tells you everything that what we're doing is giving this away. We're not trying to hoard and be the only organization that does this. Like, let us show you how to do this. As a matter of fact, there's a portal for pastors that we want pastors can sign up for, a free portal. We do a monthly meeting once a month. I think it's the first Friday of the month. It just started where pastors can come and get more information and gather. There are little classes they can take. They can sign into the hub, sign into the portal, and get connected to what we're doing. But we're here to help make churches spaces for sustainability, teach them how to get grants, teach them how to build capacity. That's what Green the Church exists to do. I would be absolutely thrilled to meet pastors. Absolutely thrilled.
Okay, so I'm in Collier County, which is Naples, not there. But there's two African American churches related to a community that are my friends that I've been working with for several years that would probably be very interested. In addition, there's a gentleman running for office. He's Haitian in Florida House District 82, I believe. And he is very connected to the Haitian churches. And there's other people I know very connected to Haitian churches. Are Haitian churches part of your community as well?
Yes, ma'am. We're and one of the things Haitian churches. We're also, because we're connected cross denominations, the American Baptist, Hispanic congregations, in Kenya, some of those congregations are going to be Catholic, right? Those are going to be Catholic congregations. And so we are really a cross denominational, and we want to get this help and support.
This done. So there's another this could expand into Fort Myers as well.
Absolutely.
I belong to Unitarian Universalists, and I bet anything they would host a meeting with you, with all these other churches there. There's also something called the Interfaith Alliance that might want to help. So I think we should talk about setting that up. Because I'm president of this organization and my whole life is spent right now on campaigns. I can't do it, but I bet I could find people who would coordinate with you and get it to happen.
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. And we still have space on our steering committee. Right now, I think there's six, Dr. Gamble.
Yes.
There's 6, and there's room for more. We recognize that we can bring people close to the fire who have a passion for this work and who really understand what it is we're seeking to do. And we're realizing that we can't do it. We don't have the bandwidth on our own. Like, I'm the state director.
Right.
I don't have the bandwidth, but we want to be across the state. And that goal of 1,000 churches, that's a goal that's been set because we're in Georgia, Louisiana, California. We're in the DMV. That's Delaware, Maryland, Baltimore, that area, Virginia. We're also in Kenya, I think I left somebody out. We're in Texas. We just launched.
Okay. All
And,
right. Well, then there is a Jewish environmental group on climate.
okay.
And I
Okay.
did go to that meeting because Therese got me to go there. One of our chapter presidents in Lake County, who's in Lake County, was also on that call, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Jewish caucus would want to be involved with this.
Yes.
We're
So
we're we're absolutely just
we should do
the
that.
community
I can
congregation.
hook you up with those people also.
We'd be great, great, great. We'd
Okay.
really be appreciative to do
That would
that. But
be outstanding, honestly, I think.
yeah, my
Okay.
brother spoke. Don't know the name of the congregation, but I know it's a Jewish congregation. He spoke for an event because we're collaborating. With one of the things, because sometimes the black church can be a difficult space to move in. When we're talking about this, people say, "So what are y'all doing? Hugging trees?" It's like, what are you like? It's
So you think,
like,
and you know, the black church is the only church that's
yeah,
difficult, right? You know that.
yeah. Like some folks that we're trying to. My
You
little
don't have
brother
a
calls it.
monopoly on that,
Yeah,
right?
he calls it waking up the sleeping. Waking up the sleeping giant. Because those who understand the history of Black people in the Americas know that those who were indigenous, who were already here, but then you've got those who came over because of slavery. They were brought here, but they
Yeah,
were artisans and they were craftsmen and they were farmers and they understood the land. And so we have to like shake past it and say,
yeah,
hey, the earth is the
yeah,
Lord's. This is our
yeah,
stuff. Yes,
yeah.
if we got to hug the tree and put our feet in the dirt, that's the things we were doing. We were already doing those things and we've forgotten them. We've literally
Yeah.
forgotten them. And we're trying to like wake the church up and all across
Okay.
the board. And so whatever it takes, I'm absolutely be thrilled to work with you on this and getting more
Okay.
churches engaged.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
absolutely welcome. You're
Okay.
absolutely welcome.
Sounds good. I love it. I love it. This has been an amazing. I really was skeptical about doing this virtually because I knew the effort and the legwork that it would take to pull off or either super exceed what we did for the first event. I didn't think I could ever top it. But my husband told me we did top it. He loved all the sessions, all the panels. Everything was so informative and education, even intentionality with the different types of music that I use because I wanted to keep something upbeat and engaged to keep everybody involved because it is different. I wanted to give bite-sized information, not so much. I wanted to have people to have an opportunity to digest each session and to be able to go back and review those things and work on what they took away from the event as a whole. I notice hopefully if things go well from this event cuz now that working with the Environmental Justice Coalition with the state and listening to you and Reverend Benjamin talking about the churches, that may be a pathway that we can use, Miss Judy, to really help draw out or identify those environmental justice communities. So, in the words of Jordan, they're not collecting this information by themselves and nobody knows what they're suffering with in silence. So, I just want to thank all of you for your patience, your schedules, adjusting and being available. And because you all know, whenever y'all need me, if possible, I will be there. Um, Sometime I may not, sometime I have to step away, but just know that this means a lot to me because it made me really look at my complex health history and where I grew up at, which could have been the reason why I had to undergo the 4 brain surgeries that I had, and without having a stroke or a heart attack, my mom having a stroke. My dad having dementia. Now I just learned my younger sister has the frontal temporal dementia. So it has a lot to do with our environment. And my goal is we cannot make sound decisions if we don't have factual and all the information. So the goal of the Duval Green Future Fair is to have everyone become an informed voter, to know all the information necessary, to make sure that whoever you're voting for is an environmental friendly candidate. And environment has to be one of their top three key issues of their campaign. Because like Montreal says earlier, water is everything. 90% of our body is water. The soil that we walk on, we can't grow food. They got these ordinance now, Miss Judy, in Jacksonville. They got a gardening act. Want to say you limit on what you can grow in your own front yard that you pay taxes on. I mean, it's getting crazy. And the only way we can stop this, we have to go to the polls and vote. And we have to listen to these webinars and the different candidates series that Miss Judy has launched at the Democratic Environmental Caucus platform, because it has been real insightful and enlightening. But I do want to say that with everything that is happening and going on, there are some significant documentaries that I want to encourage everyone this evening or this weekend to make sure you watch. And it's Common Ground, Kiss the Ground. And then there's another one that I've been watching. I watched the one in Flint, Michigan. I watched the one that on Green the Church recommended, Plastic Detox, and it just opened my eyes so much. Mr. Gamble just threw everything plastic out our house after he got through watching that one. So, and it made a whole lot of sense. And a lot of times when information is foreign to us, because we so used to doing everything or told to do everything, we got to research and verify and talk to our physicians. So I just want to tell everyone thank you for listening, participating, sharing the event, promoting the event. The sessions will be up as long as that YouTube channel is live. And as a bonus, my presenters don't know this. They will be uploaded on the Good Green Trouble podcast. That's global. It's in UK. It's in Germany. It has gone global since I launched the podcast. So that way the information gets out, and so we can start collaborating as a global community about these issues. And I agree with Jordan. We got to stop fighting the fights in silence and harboring the information and get with those people, the scientists that's doing the true work to make sure these stories are told. So with that being said, I want to pray for everyone to make sure that you are safe, that you doing your self-care, you doing your me time, you shutting yourself down from all this noise, because you can't deal with all this noise 7 days a week. It will drive you crazy. It's okay to turn the cell phone off and the TV, and don't answer the doorbell. It's okay. Teresa is telling you that because she does it. But thank you so much, Miss Judy Freiberg. Thank you, Reverend Benjamin. Thank you, Jordan. It was a pleasure meeting you. This won't be the last time, and I'm truly meaning from my heart, from one PhD student to another. Whatever you need, whatever you get stuck, whatever wall you run into, just send me. I'm a text message away. So
Thank
with
you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, with that being said, I know Miss Judy Freiberg has got the clarion call out. If y'all have not signed up for our newsletter, please do. We are ramping up doing phone banking for our candidates we endorsing, and I am putting out a clarion call, not just for Duval County, for the whole state of Florida. We need everybody on hands on deck making phone calls. If you are, it don't matter if you disabled, regardless what age you is, as long as you can communicate. If you have a cell phone, you can do phone banking. You can do text messaging. If you want to do postcard writing, I don't know if Miss Judy gonna get into that. Some people want to do postcard writing. We got to get the word out. We got to start knocking on doors and loving our neighbor, like Montrez said, and Reverend Benjamin. So, by the way, Reverend Benjamin is the pastor of Grady Antioch Baptist Church in West Palm Beach, Florida. So if you are in the area, Duval Environmental Caucus of Florida, I'm gonna need y'all to go send some love and show some love to Reverend Benjamin at his church on Sundays, okay? All right. I love everybody. Thanks so much. Stay tuned for so much more. Remember, early voting start August 8th. Vote early and vote in every election. This is your host, Dr. Teresa Wakefield Gamble. Love you to life.